Nigeria Info FM. I'm Gabriella, welcoming you back to the conversation. Today's the 25th day in November, and that means we have less than 40 days to the end of the year. But before we end the year, it's pertinent that we have conversations that will help us be better people for the year 2022. And so, in line with that, I'm welcoming you to a Mind, Body, and Soul. It's a program that holds every Thursday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we have conversations that bother around your health, your mental well-being, and your general well-being as a human, as a whole being, right? And today will be no different. Today we're going to be talking about winning, the battle against depression, your mental health, the quality of your mental health, as a matter of fact. I've got two guests joining me in the studio. John Best Uche, he is founder, volunteer executive director, Right Minds Leaders Network. You're welcome.
All right, thank you so very much for having me. Good day, Nigerians.
I also have with me in the studio Comfort Alexander, mental health advocate and member of the Right Minds Leaders Network. You're welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Nigeria.
Good afternoon. How are you both doing?
We're good. Very well.
All right.
And how are you too?
That. I'm well. Thank
awesome.
God. I could do with some food though.
Oh?
Yeah. I'm hungry. I'm starving.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what do we do now? Okay, after now, right?
Right.
Let's just.
I'll take you up on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to the conversation. Now, when we talk about the word, when people hear the word depression, many things come to mind. You're thinking, Oyibo man's problem. You're thinking, it doesn't have anything to do with me as an African man or as a Nigerian man, or what does that even mean? Nigerians, blacks do not get depressed. There's so many myths out there about depression. But I like that we establish what depression really is and how it affects people.
Okay, good. Depression basically or simply is a mental illness. Mental illness that has to do with first, it's maybe you can say it's a prolonged mood of sadness. Sadness, I said prolonged. And when I say prolonged, I'm saying that it has to do with something that has happened, prolonged to about 2 weeks or more before you could refer to it as depression. Ordinarily, anybody and basically everybody gets sad at one point.
Right. I mean, life happens, right?
Yeah, it happens. But when you get sad, you just come out of it. Maybe you lose your job, you come out of it, then you get sad, and then you lost a loved one. You could get sad. You lose anything precious, or anything happens to you, so that could get you sad. And maybe a day, 2, 3, you may still remain sad. But after 2, 3 days, you're out of it. But when you talk about depression, it has to do with something that has happened to your mental health, and then it has lingered for at least 2 weeks or more. 2 weeks or more.
So if I'm consistently sad or moody, right, for 2 weeks or more, that means I'm depressed.
We can say you're depressed. Actually, we can say you're depressed. Of course, like I said, we have that's actually different from mood swing. We have our moods can actually fluctuate and all of that, different from it. But when it has gotten to the point of you don't want anybody around you for 2 weeks, and then you're feeling like let the ground open, and then you should enter. You're actually depressed at that point. You're depressed at that point, so you need someone's help.
Let me come to you now. What are some things that people should look out for when trying to determine if you're depressed or not? There are people who are depressed and do not even know it. There are people who have been suffering depression for years and do not even realize that they are depressed to start with. So what are some of the telltale signs that individuals can look out for to say, you know what, I think I might be depressed?
Okay, aside from you thinking you might be depressed, someone can actually look out and say, I think he is depressed.
Right.
So aside from being sad over a long period of time, I think withdrawing from social activities, those things you called fun before, those things you used to do before you fell into your current mood, can be a sign that you're depressed. Now, anybody can be sad for a long period, but when you check that they're no longer interested in life, they're no longer interested in those things they used to do, their personal hygiene is dropping. You know, so when someone is depressed, if the person is an iron freak, like you like pressing clothes, you like pressing every damn thing before you go out. When the person is depressed, you notice, I just saw this thing come out. I'm sorry I'm using pigeon.
The person loses
Right.
interest
So,
in doing that.
Your
This
personal
nonchalance,
hygiene,
right?
your personal hygiene will be affected. The way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you talk, you become a bit aggressive. Like you just bounce on anybody and you don't care, you know. So those are just, I think, what I say, nearby signs you can see. Before, another sign you can see is when the person keeps talking about death. You know, somebody can just ask, why am I always thinking that I want to die? Or I want to kill myself? You know, at that point, you're climbing into suicidal ideation. So I think I've mentioned a handful of things you can notice.
I'm glad you mentioned the last one, because I was going to ask, a lot of people always, associate depression and suicide, right?
Yeah.
Is every case of suicide an offshoot of depression, John?
Okay, I would say that first of all, before anybody tries to attempt suicide, something must have happened within the person's. Something must have gone wrong,
right.
or something must have happened right inside the person, and that of course you call it depression, and so I'm of the opinion that very many of suicide cases are as a result of depression. And that's the whole idea, and that's what we're actually talking about, depression here. So you cannot talk about suicide without mentioning first depression. You can't talk about suicide without mentioning first depression.
I know suicide is not a conversation, but would you also say that every case of depression leads to suicide?
Every case of depression will not lead to suicide. Right. That is when it's discovered and then managed. Taken care of, right. Properly managed. And that's why we're actually here to talk about it, right? That's why we're talking about it. So when you feel, you discover that you're depressed, or someone notices that this person is depressed, I think it's not about it's not about me. It's not about me that is actually just depressed. Somebody around me could be a helper to me. I may not actually notice it. I may just take it to be like, oh, it's a normal thing. But for instance, if Comfort here sees me and then she notices that this is not who I used to be, something must have gone wrong. John Best must be going through depression. Maybe unknown to him. I think at this point we should actually invite the service of an expert. We should invite somebody that could actually help him out, manage this thing. Let's take care of it together. I could come out of it. That will not lead me to suicide. That will not lead me to taking suicide. Making suicide an option. But it's actually an option that most people that are depressed, they want to okay, let's do it since it's happening like this. Let me end it. I think ending my life should actually bring an end to this whole thing, not knowing that, oh my goodness, as you're ending it for yourself, even though you've not even ended it totally by taking your life, but then you're still bringing another burden. You're escalating the depression, extending it to other people. First, your family members, your loved ones, maybe your friends and people around you, even the community as a whole, because they'll feel the impact. They'll feel it because perhaps you may have you happen to be someone who is contributing to the community, to the family, to your friends, and all of that. So when they lose you at that point, you've not just left the world like that. You've left a vacuum, and it could affect them, and it continues. So we don't want that to continue. So we are saying people need to what? To come out of it. People need to be helped out of it. People need to learn how to manage this thing, and then be rescued to avoid suicide and all of that.
What are some of the major causes of depression in people?
Major causes of depression, you could say, for instance, this is Nigeria. Let's use Nigerian community as an instance here. Somebody who loses his job, that is an economic factor now. Somebody who loses his job, could actually fall into depression, slide into depression.
Okay.
That is economically. Now, how about we're talking about young persons now. Young persons in school, failure, what they call failure, maybe exam failure or academic failure could actually result to that. They could, I'm supposed to graduate in year 2020, but something happened. COVID came and stuff like that, and then I couldn't cope, and then I got so many, when school resumed, I got so many spillovers and all of these things, and I'm not graduating this year. Or maybe stuff like in that case, it's not even their fault per se.
Right.
COVID, that's COVID, right? But personally, when they are not able to study, when they feel that, of course, they didn't study and then they fail, that could be another thing. And another cause of it you could actually talk of is pressure, the pressures that come from around friends. Of course, everybody wants to feel like I'm on top of the world. You see friends. Oh, they're actually. How do I put it now? They are flying on air, maybe on social media, for instance. They are flying on the social media. You see somebody that has not even left Rumosi to Igruta is posting or saying, posting himself, maybe doing a Photoshop of himself, seeing the background of an airplane. Oh my gosh, we're in what? We're in UK right now. I'm in UK, feeling nice and all of that. But then the friend will be somewhere. Oh my, we are friends, and this person.
So why am I still here when my friend is over there?
What?
So why am I still here
when my friend is there doing so well? They feel pressured, or they feel pressurized and all of that. So they want to feel like I need to meet up.
Right.
They are forgetting the fact that social media is social media.
Social media causes depression.
Of course,
is that what you're saying?
It does. It does. I'm not saying that some persons. Okay, I want to be somewhere. I could actually project, or I could actually say, because maybe in a year time I have to be outside the country. Maybe it should be in Dubai or some trip and all of that. So maybe let me just do this post just to remind myself. That's me, right? The social media doing that. But some persons may not read it. My followers may not read it in that light. They may not read the meaning to that post. You get? So they just see the picture. Oh, this person is there. Oh, the person he has made it. She has made it, and I'm still here, and all of that. So that could cause it. So it's important that some persons, young persons especially, learn to know that the social media is another world altogether.
Now we're going to come to social media. Sorry to cut you in there. We'll have to take a break quickly. But I'd like Comfort to also, maybe mention a few areas you think, are major culprits in the cause for depression.
Okay, like he has mentioned a couple. I would say anything that causes depression is from your physical activity, aside from medical conditions and brain factors. Now, there are medical conditions that mimic depression. Like thyroid issues, tumors, vitamins deficiency, and there are some medical conditions you will have and you will fall into depression, especially those ones that are life-threatening, So, environmental factors too, and depression are genetical. Yeah, for instance, two identical twins, they stay together and one is depressed, there's a 70% chance that the other will fall into depression.
Really?
Yes. So environmental factor, if people around you are always depressed, it's just like we say, carry your bad energy and go away.
Right.
So you attract depression the same way you attract positive energy you get. So I've mentioned environmental factors, genetic factors, medical factors. Then there's a point where some hormones in the brain are not properly balanced. Yes, that could lead to depression too. And when it comes to women, women have higher chances of falling into depression. When it comes to women, a week to them seeing their period, they have this mild depression they experience. Yes, that's a medical condition, so it can be sidelined because not up to 2 weeks. But there are some ladies that when they want to see their period, from when they will start that week till the end and another week, they're still behaving funny.
Right.
They're still having mood swings and the rest. So this and many more can
Of
cause
course.
depression.
I think drug abuse is there, and that's
Of
what's
course,
in
a
vogue right
major
now.
culprit for depression.
Drug abuse is another thing altogether that causes depression.
Obviously, there's so many causes of depression.
Sure.
So obviously, we would have to talk about how you can identify when any of these kick in and what you can do. But we'll have to take a very quick break now. And when we return, we'd like for you to join the conversation. The numbers to call are 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. You can also call 0817-923-0007 or 0817-923-0009. On WhatsApp, it's 0809-030-6416. We'll be right back shortly after this. Don't go away.
Presents the Port Harcourt City Marathon 2021, a 16-kilometer race on the 11th of December 2021. First prize 1 million naira, second prize 500k, third prize 250k. Lots of prizes to be won. Registration is free. Register at www.phcitymarathon.com/register. Registration ends 30th November 2021. We're on all platforms at PHC Marathon. For inquiries, call 0703 680 4608 or 0807 274 8245. This event is proudly sponsored by I Think Concerns Limited, Limewood Hotel, Rear Gem Engineering, Star Energy Nigeria Limited, Core Branding Services, Deep and Sea, and Wazobia Info. Supported by Soundblast Films, Rotary Club, Port Harcourt West, Media Works, Risa, and Galaxy 360 Media. This December,
Lots of activities.
Run the city.
Lots of activities.
Add colors to your life. Reflect your class and style. Choose Demcock paints today and get a correct value for your money. Offering you a variety of Demcock paints, including Demcock car paint, Demcock wall satin paint, Demcock text coat, lotion, and gloss paint. All available at an affordable price in every paint shop near you. Don't just paint. Use a paint with quality and style. Use Demcock paint for your house, office, church, car, and every other painting needs. Demcock paints, apex of attraction and persistence.
7 days a week. The thrill of football frenzy serenades your airwaves and is about to get better. Join us live at the Boss Lounge, 86 Wochi Road, GRA, Port Harcourt, for an evening of fun with the sports gang of Cool FM and Nigeria Info as we experience Chelsea versus Manchester United together on Sunday, the 28th of November. Come spar with Ekbo Inyang, the controversial one. Dine with Dorcas Koki, the diva and duchess of sports. Wine with NG Kalela and interact with Honor Kosi, the banter, the fun, and the frenzy of the beautiful game. All under one roof, plus plenty of football jerseys to be won. Courtesy, Beep Stores. Other appearances include Dio of Nigeria Info, Sisi Boma of Wazobia FM, Ray of Cool FM, and your favorite radio stars from the Cool Wazobia Info family. Football Frenzy Hangout. Come one, come all.
Only bees, only bees. Better don't do. Only bees they reward customers with jolly prices this season. Lucky customers go win jolly price like generator, freezer, and other population prices there. Joga Pata winner go enjoy 1 year shop rent. You never end though. All customers go win 1,000 naira on every purchase delivered from now till December 24th. Buy more, win more. Everybody is a winner. Visit shop.onlybees.app or download the app now.
Different ideologies,
Different perspectives.
share your views on the solid side.
92.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
There's something I'm hearing. Someone's phone. Are you recording somewhere?
Okay, you reduce your
You're
volume.
recording?
Yeah.
Maybe you should turn the volume down. Turn the volume down. I'm catching the sound.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome back to Mind, Body and Soul. This is your number one talk news and sports radio station, Nigeria Info FM. I'm Gabriella. We've got 25 minutes or so to wrap the conversation up. On the show today, we're talking about mental health, winning the battle against depression. My guests today are from the Right Minds Leaders Network, John Best Uche. He is founder and volunteer executive director of Right Minds Leaders Network, as well as Comfort Alexander, who is a mental health advocate and also a member of the Right Minds Leaders Network. Now you can join the conversation. Whatever questions or thoughts you might have, you can call in and you can share. The numbers to call is 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. You can also call 0817-923-0007 or 0817-923-0009. On WhatsApp, it's 0809-030-6416. Now, to you both in the studio, John Best and Comfort, thank you for sticking around, by the way.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Now, we've talked about some of the causes, major causes of depression. How can people manage depression when they fall into it at the early stages?
Okay. Let me start by. I think I'll talk about comfort. I'm going to talk about the role of individuals around ourselves, and then perhaps Comfort will talk about the individual himself or herself, managing it. Right. So, as individuals around ourselves, we have a great big role to play in helping people with depression. And when we talk about that, I would like to say that there is need for us to build a world of hope around the depressed. Building a world of hope around the depressed. By that I mean, when you notice a person with depression, or you notice anyone who is going through that I call it a process, so to say, that's illness. You should be able to perhaps get close to the person.
Right.
First, for you to get close to the person, or for the person to allow you get close to him or her, you have to be approachable.
Okay.
You just have to be approachable, and then you have to be a cheerleader. By being a cheerleader, I mean you are not the type that when someone comes around you, when someone comes to tell you about his or her problems or about his or her situation, you're playing blame games on the person. You're like blaming the person. You're putting more weight on the person. For instance, I come to you, hi, look at this thing. This is what I'm going through right now, and this is what I have done. This is what I have done that has actually landed me in this situation that I am. Instead of you to like, oh really? Okay. Let me hear you out. Let me get to know how I can actually be of help now. Instead of you to give me that response first, you just stop there. Stop blaming me. Say, oh, John Best, why do you have to? Why do you have to do this? Oh no, you shouldn't have done this. No, you're more than this. You're bigger than this, of course. You're like, oh, and then I'll feel so withdrawn. I'll feel like, oh, I really need the ground to open right now for me to enter, and then I don't want to face this person. I cannot face this young man anymore. This young woman anymore. Do you understand? In that case, this person is not approachable, right? She's not a cheerleader, or he's not a cheerleader. But we advocate that people,
be open to such conversations.
Yes, let people see them. Let people see us as confident. Let people see us as confident. People shouldn't see us as wolves, or as wolves, so to say. People shouldn't see us as wolves in the sense that they'll come to us and then they're like, man, if I had known, I wouldn't have actually come to this person. They should rather come and then still want to come.
Right.
And come.
So
and
people should be more open to having conversations.
Have a conversation with them.
Right.
I've had an issue. I've actually had such experiences. I come across somebody maybe at my place of work. I met with somebody. I say, hi, how are you doing? He said, I'm fine. And then he's like, are you sure? You're not fine. Like, how are you doing? He said, I'm fine. Okay, I know you're fine, but how are you feeling right now? Like, how are you? He said, I'm fine. It's okay. I pestered the person. I entered him. And then I discovered that he wasn't really fine. He was going through a lot. Like, I never knew about that before, but because of the way I've actually been intentional about trying reaching out to people, get to listen to them, hear them, And then he told me, okay, he started with, man, if I tell you what I'm going through right now, you can. In fact, I can't even say anything right now. I can't tell you anything. And I said, no. I told him, I started with, right now, I do not have the money to give to you. If you tell me anything right now, I don't have the money to give to you. But I do know that I have something that may even be more than that money. In fact, if you tell me right now this thing you're going through, if you tell me, I could actually tell you that it's not even, maybe money may not even be the solution to it.
Right.
I told him that, and then we're like, so tell me something, tell me. He said, no. Okay, I still pestered him. He agreed. Okay, he's going to do this, he's going to tell me. I said, okay, let's enter the office. We entered the office. I closed the door. I'm talking about an elderly person here. Elderly, not as if he's so old though. But I closed the door, and then we started talking. He started telling me about stuff. He started telling me stuff, and then I was like, wow, amazing. Bottom line is, when he told me all of that, I said, what I told you this thing, money wasn't even the issue. Money was not, if you had needed money for that issue, it would have been the money to actually maybe transport something, T-fare that he could use to get to the place he needs that assistance. That was just all he needed.
Wow.
And then I told him that. And then when we discussed, I told him stuff and all of that. He felt relieved. He said, John Best, like I've never believed that I was actually going to tell anybody this kind of thing. And I wouldn't have told anybody, even not the way you entered me, even not the way you approached me. It has happened. This is not once. I've met with persons and then they just come around, they're like, man, happy around when they are together, when we are in number.
Right.
And then but when you go close to them, you discover that truly they are not fine.
Nothing is right.
So just imagine if I had not if I wasn't careful enough, and then if I wasn't careful enough, in that case I was careful, right? I was careful, I was observant. We'll tell people to be observant of their word, to know when things are wrong or right with people. So if I wasn't observant enough, I wouldn't have known that he was actually going through that issue, that problem. But because I was able to, at least, and I actually felt fulfilled that I was able to help him out.
All right.
No money attached. I didn't give him any money. 5 minutes I didn't give. I just gave him the listening ear, and then I advised and encouraged him.
Good afternoon. You're welcome.
Hello. Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
I think loneliness can also make somebody go depressed. Also.
Okay.
Loneliness. Then in women that have children with challenges. Women that have pregnancy with challenges, in women, I think is very, very high. Because let me take it for instance, you have a child with challenge, the way people perceive the child, and the others do not even know what the mother or the parents have gone through. They say all sorts of things. They hurt the person, and that can drive both parents, more especially the mother, into depression.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. That's valid, you would say, yeah?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, you're welcome.
Hello?
You're welcome, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I want to, my name is David, I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Go ahead, David.
When you say someone is depressed, I want to know if it is also different from someone being frustrated. Can frustration lead to depression, or two of them are the same thing? And I want to also say this. If the current situation of the country can turn someone into depression, just like what your guest has said, can also have your wife or husband lead you into depression. Thank you.
David, thank you very much for your thoughts and questions. So the first question, frustration, depression, the same thing? Comfort?
Okay, frustration and depression are not the same thing. Just the same way grief, sadness, and depression are not the same thing. But they can lead to depression.
Yeah.
Yes. Already, if you're frustrated, you're sad.
Yes.
You're angry with everybody, you're angry with yourself, you're angry with your spirit and soul and body and everything at the same time. So, dwelling on that frustration over time can lead to depression. Yeah, so frustration and depression are not same, but frustration can lead to depression.
Okay. Can lead to depression.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about management of depression. Like the first caller mentioned, there are certain things that life will throw to you that you have no control over, but it happens. Life happens, right? How do you ensure that you do not fall into depression? So, for instance, you have a child with special needs, or you've lost your job, like you mentioned earlier, or you're failing in school or your business. Life is literally happening to you.
Yes.
How can I ensure that I do not go beyond feeling bad about what is happening around me and falling into depression?
Okay, now, in church they'll say, pick the good out of it, right? In church. But it should be a general thing. That when you're going through some stuff, okay, like someone reported that she was coming back from church and she was gang raped. So what is the good in there? Why didn't God rescue her and stuff? And I was like, what if those men had HIV? What if they had killed you? It's not enough to console someone that's depressed, but at least that's the good we can pick from it. So when it comes to managing depression, if it's a medical condition, then you have to take out the medical challenge entirely. That's where antidepressants comes in and some hormonal drugs for hormonal imbalance when it comes to the brain. Now, otherwise, if it's an environmental factor, you have to leave the immediate environment. Now, in mental health, there's what they call cognitive behavioral therapy, because depression is a behavioral mental condition.
Right.
So, talk therapy comes under here. And when I handle some teenagers, I tell them they should get a doll or go in front of a mirror, talk as much as they want to, cry if they want to, as if they are pouring it on someone or the person. You allow them feel their feeling. Because if you don't feel it and you're trying to dodge it, then you can't completely get out of it. So I ask them to feel their feeling, say it the way it is. They should trace themselves and their mind back to where the depression started from. That's actually where you can start managing depression. But you don't have a trace, you cannot really relate what led to that, then I think we can't help you. So until there's a trace to where your problem started from, maybe after your dad died, maybe someone slapped you, just something that led to you being in that state, then from there we can now help you.
Interesting. Now that you mentioned, let me take you from what you just mentioned about working with teenagers. From what age is a person prone to falling into depression?
Okay, actually depression from childhood.
Even
From
as
when you
children?
start knowing yourself, you can fall into depression.
You don't say. So as
Something
early as
like
5 years old, 10 years
from 5
old?
years.
From
From
let's say
5.
from 5 years, from
From
when you start
5?
knowing yourself and can ask questions.
Wow.
Yes, a child can come up and say, okay, the other mommy, her house is big. She gives her children big food. And here in my house, we eat small food. We eat 2 loaves of bread.
No chicken.
And mommy don't tell us she loves us. Daddy don't tell us they love us. They go to work, come back in the night when we've slept. They buy us old clothes. When you start pinpointing things, yes, that could childhood depression. Yes, childhood depression. That's what can cause their depression. Then when it comes to teenagers, stuff like Abobo has beards, I don't have beards. Why did they give me Mark and they did not give Adam Mark? Why is mommy pampering Ngozi and mommy is not pampering me?
Right.
Things you call silly are what actually leads to childhood and teenage depression compared to adults.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm glad that we talked about this. This is a conversation we'll have to expand further, because now I'm thinking in my head, how can parents identify, depression in their children?
Your parents can, when you know your child, the one that is reserved, the one that is a noisemaker. If a child that is always talking, cheerful, dancing, all of a sudden is to his or herself, then you should ask questions. If a child that each time they come back, the child will run and say, welcome mommy, welcome daddy, what did you bring? Or a child that eats a lot, there are children that eat a lot, and you notice this child cannot even finish a small portion, then you should ask questions. So you mastering your child knowing your child, knowing what they can do and what they cannot do, can help you in identifying when a child or a teenager or whoever you're staying with is falling into depression. Sometimes signs of depression can be being lost in thoughts. If both of us stay in the same house, in a single room, and I'm talking to you, I'm giving you premium gist, and I know you like gist very well. I'm giving you premium gist and you're not responding. Then I should ask what's up now.
Right. Yeah.
You get? So it's knowing who you are staying with.
Right.
Because I've heard of cases where people who stay in family of 7, 10, 12, that's like the maximum here in Nigeria. Someone is depressed, crying every damn day. And nobody can trace that.
No
this person,
they are not observant.
It's not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't know the person so well and they are not observant. Do you understand? So it all boils down to knowing who you are with.
And how do you treat depression in children and teenagers?
In children and teenagers, I said something about feeling your feeling and letting them talk. The easiest therapy for children and teenagers is talk therapy. Except it's a medical condition where you need antidepressants and the rest. It's a talk. You call them, you allow them talk. Allow them express how they feel. Allow them swear. Swear, I mean, it's laying curses. Allow them say why they shouldn't treat them the way they are treating them before you talk. Because if you don't allow them feel their feeling, they won't even answer anything you're saying. So even as adults, when you talk out, you air out your challenge, there's this relief in you.
Okay.
Then talk more of children. When you've heard them talk and you told them what to do, like a girl I was working on, after allowing her talk, I told her to start an affirmation series for 30 days. So you pray for your family, you call that person that is hurting you in particular, that's making you feel angry, and pray something good about the person. Then you affirm those things you want to happen in your life and in your family. Now, this is not like the whole scriptural stuff,
right,
but it is working. Yes, it's part of cognitive behavioral therapy. Yeah, so you allow them to do those things. It's not going to be easy because some days they will call you. Some days they will call me and say, Auntie, comfort me. I'm tired. This thing is never working. Every day I keep getting angry. I told her, but I told you earlier that you will keep getting angry. Who on earth prays for somebody that is hurting the person? You know, but with time, your mind, your subconscious begins to change. Yes, you're now seeing things from a different perspective. Okay, your dad is a drunk, but you don't want to be a drunk, and you're affirming, I am not a drunk, I only eat healthy things. You know, your mind starts tilting towards that direction.
Right.
You understand?
Okay, let's come back to, adults. Let me come back to you, John Best. For adults, how can you begin to treat or manage depression when it happens?
Okay, I was going to add to when she talked about, I was going to say that as life happens to us, I advise that people learn to see life not as bed of roses.
Okay.
I advise that people see life from the perspective that anything can happen at any time, coming from anybody, anywhere. So when you expect all of these things, when it now happens suddenly, you'll not be so disappointed that to the point of getting frustrated that will lead you to depression. So my usual advice is people should learn to expect. Right. You know, it's just like I have a friend, a very close friend, and then the friend is such that, man, if this guy hurts me, if this guy does anything bad, I'm supposed to feel like, oh my goodness. But as a person, I've so much built myself, or I've so much learned that this is a human. He's human, and so anything can happen anytime. He can act human anytime. So when peradventure he happens to, act the way I had expected, which is, acting negative, or acting as though he's to disappoint me, to make me feel frustrated, I won't be so disappointed. I won't be so frustrated, because I had always known that because he's human, he could act up anytime. The only thing is I'm going to feel like, it has happened. Oh, what do I do now? I think they should be well.
Sorry to cut you there because we're running out of time. In cases where a person who is suffering depression doesn't know what to do, has nobody around them who knows what to do, how can such people seek help? Because now I'm thinking, for people who are depressed, where do they go to seek help? So how can such people seek help?
First, I think that one is talking about where when nobody is around the person, nobody gets to know and all that. That's now like personal medication, personal management. You have to manage yourself in that case, and that means it's a whole lot here because it's not easy. It's not easy. Just take for instance. Seeing the person, the person feels like I need to take this thing, and nobody is there to encourage the person to say, no, don't take this sniper, don't take this stuff, don't take that stuff to end it. The person could easily, but now this person is alone. How does it do it? It's just to remember that the world awaits a whole lot from him or her. There's a whole lot that is in him or her that the world is waiting to see. So you shouldn't feel like, man, let me end it here. No.
Okay. Right. I wanted to say people react differently to depression.
Right.
Sometimes self-motivation and all those praises doesn't even work for some persons. Like when you're down, somebody's coming to tell you, you do, they will be like, I beg, just carry your problem and go. So I feel if you have a problem and you have a problem, that's where your solution will come from. That's the beginning of the solution of that problem. You understand? Now, in Nigeria here, people just take everything. Either they are spiritualizing it or they are calling it culture or something. So when you're down, you know you were down. But because we don't see it as anything, everybody just forget about it. Nigeria, when you're talking about... In Africa, when you're talking about mental health, it's as if you're joking or you're talking about one on serious matter. But it's actually serious. Reason being that people spiritualize things. There's what they call pathopsychology. People spiritualize things and cage themselves in it. So when you've realized that you were depressed and you have a problem, you should ask to see a psychologist.
So see a psychologist.
Or a psychotherapist.
Okay.
Yes. You should ask to see one. And when you go to see one, you say how it is doing you and start beating around the bush. And another thing that also cause adults depression, frustration into depression is entitlement mentality.
Yeah.
You just sit down on your own and expect everything to fall in place.
Nice, no.
You're putting pressure in your mind, and when it happens, everywhere flops.
Wow, it's a very huge conversation. I think we would have to, extend this to some other time. But a comment here on WhatsApp before we wrap this up is from Babalola. He says, the guests say take positives, but there are some situations with no positives. I feel you take positive routine. I feel the take positives routine is lying to yourself or deceiving yourself. From my experience, which I'm still experiencing, parents should listen to everything their kids say. Do not beat a child for attempting suicide. A psychologist or psychotherapist are not readily available. How do you respond to that, Comfort? In saying that these experts are not readily available in one minute.
Okay, that's because people go to school and study psychology and they don't want to practice because they feel like they won't make money out of it. And you see a psychologist selling something somewhere. I'm not saying entrepreneurship is bad. But when they've tilted their attention to something else, where will you see them?
Very difficult to have
them. So we have a very huge problem then. In that regard. But anyway, we have to wrap it up now because our time is up. Thank you so much. There are lots of take homes in this conversation. We already have established what depression is, how it comes, what causes it, how you manage it, etc. And I'm really grateful to you both for being here for this conversation. Let's have your social media handles.
All right, Right Minds Leaders Network. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Right Minds Network. And then on the other side, of course, I don't want to mention, they say we are not on Twitter, but we are there. Well, we are an advocacy organization. So, we're on Right Minds Net Twitter. Thank you very much.
Okay, personal handles. On Instagram, I'm Alexander Comfort. On Facebook, Alexander Comfort. On LinkedIn, Alexander Comfort.
Thank you so much, lady and gentlemen. Have yourselves a lovely afternoon.
Thank you so very much for having us. We're grateful to you and Nigeria Info as a whole. My goodness. Thank you so very much for always doing so well.
Have a great one.
Such causes. Thank you.
All right, here we draw the curtains on the sunny side, but it does continue the conversation that is on Hard Facts with Daya. 3 o'clock happens in 3 minutes. Rivers today, and right after, I can hand you over to Daya. I am Gabriella. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.